The world's a crazy place right now, but don't worry, we'll still be here. We'll see you again soon.
International University of Management, a Namibian university dedicated to its people's future, a hub of abundant opportunities.
We are IUM for life. We are IUM.
Welcome to this evening's edition of Today on One. I'm Maggie Forciero. In the news tonight, Swana coup d'etat fails, Sabeb calls Nyama, Puhamba and Ndetunga land grabbers, wildfire destroys over 100,000 Namibia dollars worth of property at Nalu 4, Atika soup drive feeds the less fortunate, and Roundup Business on One comments corner, sports and the weather. Now for the news in detail. The recent failed attempt by a faction of SWANU members, led by its former president, aimed at holding an extraordinary Congress, has been labelled illegal by the party's top brass, who are currently pursuing legal action against the organisers. Joseph Ilonga has more.
According to Tangeni Iyambo, SWANU president and member of parliament, the recent failed coup d'etat in the party at the extraordinary congress entitled Taking Our Heritage Back, which was reportedly aimed at electing a new president and executives in the party, was unconstitutional. Iyambo insisted that he was the sole legal SWANU president elected in 2018 and whose 5-year term ends in 2024. According to reports, the former SWANU president has accused the top leadership of the party of violating the party's constitution, alleging that the Central Committee has abdicated its oversight and supervisory function over the political bureau because it has not convened close to 12 sessions over the last 3 years. The current SWANU president at the press conference denied the statement and said that the political bureau's planned Central Committee meetings for 2019 and 2020 were deliberately and systematically cancelled to save the population from the encroaching pandemic with its restrictions and lockdowns. He further stated that the next Central Committee meeting will be held in Okahanja on September 25th, 2021. According to Iyambo, this is the 9th time that they have attempted to oust him out of office and have been unsuccessful in their attempts. Evelistus Karonda, the SWANU Secretary General, also denied allegations of tribalism and cronyism in the party's leadership structure, saying that the party's top brass are currently pursuing legal action against the SWANU Congress Committee for violating the party's constitution by organizing the failed extraordinary Congress intended to depose the current leadership.
New Nivea Black and White Deo protects me and my favorite outfit. That's why I feel confident and free. With 5 times Deo Action formula, I stay fresh and protected for 48 hours, and my clothes stay stain-free. Try SA's #1 anti-stain Deo.
Sabeb, the Landless People's Movement deputy leader, has called on former presidents Sam Nujoma and Hifikepunye Pohamba to restore excess land to indigenous people living in poverty. This report from Leston Waller.
In the daylight, you are called a founding father. Yet in the night, you grab the land from the same vulnerable people. This is pure greed, and Namibians should speak out without any fear or favor or bias.
Henny Sabeb, deputy leader of the Landless People's Movement LPM, stated that the nation's founding father has acquired hectares of land, while the people on the ground are fighting to obtain land.
Former President Sam Nujoma owns Farm Etunda, making him a commercial farmer. As you drive on the Otavi Highway, you see the farm. It's having a petrol station, fuel station. He makes money out of that fuel station. It goes to his pocket. Now the same former President Sam Nujoma has gotten off a huge tract of land in the Chumkwe district, which was allegedly given to him by the late Chief Arnold in that area. And allegedly he also owns huge tract of land in the Kavango regions and still farms in Okahau communal areas, apart from owning several properties, both known and unknown, in commercial towns of Namibia.
According to Sabeb, former President Pohamba, who has allegedly opened a case against generational farmers and retirees, has also obtained a huge land.
Another one, case study, former President Hifikepunye Pohamba. Former President Hifikepunye Pohamba, the Mo Ibrahim Democracy and Good Governance winner, is also a commercial farmer, by the way. Currently, he has opened a case against the generational farm workers and pensioners who only know that farm to be evicted in 10 days. But here are the letters that these people must live in 10 days. It's actually not a group of people. It's just an old man and a wife. Now, they have been there before President Pohamba bought that farm. This is cruel, evil, and inhumane from a former head of state. We thought that he could at least spare these two old pensioner couple and offer them servitude. What we mean here is that small camp that he has let these pensioners to live or to stay on, if President Pohamba wants to sell that camp or any other camp at his farm, we don't reject the notion that he did not buy it, but in humanitarian crisis, he could easily give that piece of land to these old people so that they have ownership over it, so that even when he sells in future the farm, at least those two couple can be allowed to stay on. Where else will these two old people go? And President Pohamba ought to know this because he was the president of this country and also a minister of lands and resettlement. Now, I think he must have only used rhetoric of land resettlement so that he could become president. Former President Pohamba is also serving as a headman in Wambana region, I think Okambwati also. This means he has vast tract of land in his ancestral land. He sits over. I don't think he stays much of his time at his farm here. No. He lives there because he's the headman. Now imagine that greediness. You are in ownership of a communal land. You are in ownership of a commercial land. And he also owns, I understand, vast tract of land in one of the Kavango regions.
Sabeb further added that despite being the vanguard of a recent operation against land grabbers in Windhoek, Namibian Police Force Inspector General Sebastian Daitunga has acquired land, much to the surprise of the LPM leadership.
I understand the Inspector General was also having land about 8 kilometers from Oshivelo towards Ondangwa on that hard road. He was constructing a house on that land. He also obtained land in Kavango region, allegedly in a dubious manner from someone else. Now, this is very serious. And this is the same General, Lieutenant General Sebastian Daitunga, whose citizenship is questionable. Judge Tamasep still has to come back on that one. How do you come from elsewhere? You dispossessed weak people from their land, and in Windhoek you have an audacity to call other people land grabbers.
The LPM vows to continue fighting for those in search of a piece of land to call their own.
Did you know? COVID-19 vaccines may not only prevent you from getting seriously sick. Vaccines allows your body to fight the virus well before an infection occurs. This greatly increases your chances of not getting seriously ill when infected. The government provides COVID-19 vaccines for free, and they are safe for people aged 18 years and older, including those with pre-existing conditions. Remember, it is important to go for both doses of the vaccine to make sure you are fully protected.
So, get vaccinated. Help kick COVID-19 out of Namibia.
This message was brought to you by the Nationhood and National Pride Program in partnership with the Ministry of Health and Social Services.
A wildfire destroyed 800 bales of hay baler, a truck, and the workers' personal belongings at Nalu 4 near the Vryfront settlement on the outskirts of Okahanja. Over 100,000 Namibia dollars is lost in property, says manager and founder John Nalushia, who's calling for any form of assistance from the public. Isai Sipunga has more.
It's still unclear how and what started the fire, but Nalushia says it came from the north of Vryfront and passed through Nalu 4 grass project in a destructive fashion.
It was Friday around 17:30. So my guys experienced the fire from northern side of municipality park toward on this side of the southern side. So it caged our side, and it was uncontrollable because they were just busy offloading some other grass. So yeah, it's how it happened.
He says the fire spread around so fast that there was insufficient time to save valuables.
800 bales, it's around 80,000. And plus the damage on the truck is around 25,000, plus the machine and equipment that we normally use. So remember, we are having more than 7 to 8 workers. Yeah, and plus their belonging also. It's also bent to ash, and yeah, the estimated value is at 125,000. We remember we've been camping here for 4 months. And we've been collecting just to donate, and we have idea of donating to Trola-based community that are affected also by fire. So yeah, it's how we wanted to do, and we want also to continue doing that. But for now, we are experiencing a difficult.
Although firefighters reportedly managed to put out the fire, property worth hundreds of thousands had already been lost in damages. Nalushia is now calling for any form of support from members of the public.
The Hatika Adult Education Center, through its social outreach program, recently embarked on a winter soup drive for the less fortunate communities in the Koryangab informal settlement. Hendrina Kanyola has this report.
Community Voices proudly brought to you by Namdeb Diamond Corporation. Good today, better tomorrow.
Kochika munine kujabina pano matu yarua musiwa namu paitha iyo sita siti ukuya nombanda wandumaye kamuro ukuya ukakopo kawa nomboroto nokwa inami matu mzo yuwa nombanda matu yarua musiwa nondo kusita musiwa.
The volunteer coordinator at the center shared her experience with Today on One when they hosted the winter soup drive in the Koryangab informal settlement, which was aimed at giving back to the community and the less fortunate.
Today we are offering or we're conducting an event whereby we would like to give back to the community in the possible way that we can, whereby we have a soup drive. We would like to give the community the little that we can during this trying time because things are really hard and every person is suffering in one way or the other.
Haingono further said that it is heartwarming to see the young and the old queuing up just to receive a cup of soup, noting that it is time that all Namibians try and look after each other and make sure no one goes to bed hungry.
It brought a lot of people from different directions, and to make it worse, it was a combination of all age groups, from young people to old people, like, let me say, pensioners. The whole initiative was just for us to give back to the community because we feel during these trying times of COVID-19, some people go to bed with an hungry stomach, and then we decided to give the little bit that we could. We as Namibians, we need to help and care for each other during this COVID-19 times. Because when I was at the center, I myself am a volunteer coordinator for the center. But then to look at a very old person standing in the queue with a 5 or 3-year-old child just to get a cup of soup, it really moves my heart. Like, there's nothing like you're small, I'm old, everybody's just going forwards to get the food. And I feel we need to extend our hand to our neighbors just to make sure the other person doesn't go to bed with a hungry stomach, or just help where you can. These are times really where we need to lean on each other, be there for each other, support each other. The little thing that you give to the next person really means a lot.
Haingono said this was the first winter soup drive, adding that they would like to expand it, urging community members to come on board with the little they can donate to help feed those that are starving or are in need of support.
Community Voices proudly brought to you by Namdeb Diamond Corporation. Good today, better tomorrow.
Stay connected during lockdown with unlimited internet from as little as 399 Namibian dollars per month. Get faster home internet at these amazing prices. Sign up now and get free installation plus double the speed, or enjoy double the speed if you're already signed up. Contact us at spectraadmin@mtc.com.na or call toll-free 90111. Get there with MTC Spectra Home. MTC, make the connection.
In other leading stories, a delegation of 6 Congress members from the U.S. House of Representatives met with President Hage Geingob to encourage U.S.-Namibia partnership on global health, security, bilateral trade, climate change, racial justice, and other priorities that the two democracies share. The delegation is led by Congress member Karen Bass of California, who is the chair of the House of Representatives Subcommittee on Africa, Global Health, and Global Human Rights. While in Namibia, the congressional delegation also engaged directly with professionals and individuals on issues that affect the United States and Namibia. They visited a Pepfar Dreams program to show support for the fight against HIV/AIDS and for young women at risk. The delegation also spoke with young professionals, alumni of the United States Embassy Mandela Washington Fellowship, to hear from Namibia's youth and what is important to them. During the two-day visit, the 6 Congress members also met with members of Parliament, the President's advisor on economic affairs, senior business leaders, and wildlife conservation experts. And Dr. Gabriel Geyer, head of cooperation of the German Embassy and GIZ, handed over COVID-19 protective equipment to Ms. Mildred Kambinda, Acting Deputy Executive Director, Department of Agricultural Development at the Ministry of Agriculture, Water and Land Reform. The donation was facilitated through GIZ on behalf of the German government. The equipment, consisting of 3-ply masks, hand sanitizers and refills, antibacterial hand soap and refill, spray bottles and disinfectant refills, as a token of further German assistance to Namibia in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic, in ensuring the health and safety of the ministry staff at respective workplaces countrywide and its frontline workers in delivering services to farmers. The main objective of the F4R project is to support the ministry to strengthen the agri-food sector and to improve the livelihoods of communal smallholder farmers.
Enjoy these fantastic payday savings at Clicks until 7 September. Buy Clicks 2-ply toilet paper, 18 rolls, $89.99 per pack. Buy Pampers Premium Care disposable nappies or Pants Value Pack, 2 for $2, $19.99 per pack and 1 for $2, $41.99. And buy Protex soap 200 grams, 4 for $48. Clicks, feel good, pay less.
Stay true to who you are and stay true to Namibia Sounds. Starting September 4th at 7 p.m., Valentine's and 99 FM bring you the True Music Sessions, a back-to-back playlist of our nation's finest artists, brought to you by the finest blended Scotch whiskey, Valentine's. Stay true. There's no wrong way.
Joseph Shufeni standing by for today's edition of Business on One and Economic Indicators.
Welcome to this evening's edition of Business on One. I'm your host, Joseph Shufeni. On the 3rd of August 2021, the Ministry of Urban and Rural Development approved the $4.9 billion Windhoek Council budget for the 2021-2022 financial year. Figures from the budget indicate that the wage bill for the 2,000 staff complement will be maintained at 35% of the budget, while the government only allocated $39 million for informal settlement development, an amount that the city deemed insufficient to the needs of 160,000 residents that reside in these settlements.
At a media event to unpack the expenditure for the next financial year, the acting chief executive officer said the approval of the budget has come a month late from the line ministry.
Our financial year starts on 1 July. The ideal situation for us is that before 1 July comes, the budget should already be approved. So that's an area on which we will make an improvement. Both ends, the municipality as well as the ministry. In this year, we approved a budget of 4.9 billion. That's both the operational and the capital budget put together. Also, we received a government allocation of $39 million for upgrading and development of informal settlements, and 2 million committed towards addressing developmental challenges in Grootown. So that then gives you about 41 million. That is, of course, a very small amount of money. Sister cities like Johannesburg and Pretoria would have received 2,000 times that amount that I've mentioned to you.
Mayumbelo further said that the city wants its fair share of earnings that the government receives from Windhoek residents.
What is the ideal situation for us regarding funding from central government? It is a situation where government would share with the city of Windhoek in the revenue collected through tax in the municipality of Windhoek. Sharing the tax revenue collected in Windhoek. That's the ideal situation. In addition to that, we would welcome subsidies and grants. The residents know very well that we spend over $500 million on social programs like emergency services, city police, and a host of other activities. Now, those activities are not carried out in other local authorities. It's mainly toward those that would like to ask and would welcome a positive response that comes in the form of grants, subsidies, and the sharing in the tax revenue collected in Windhoek, at least.
Giving a presentation on the budget, Finance and Customer Strategic Executive Jenny Komali said residents of the city can expect to fork out more on a monthly basis on levies for emergency services.
Just to reduce our cost, you could see that the electricity budget, it's around 1.5 billion of our expenses is going towards paying NamPower for electricity that we're buying from NamPower. So the 25 megawatt solar plant that we are planning for the city will also have a positive impact on the tariff to the resident, because then we will mix that cost and bring down the average cost of buying electricity, and that positive benefit can then be passed on to the residents. And then obviously we are trying to create additional areas of revenue, like we spoke about the fire brigade levy, so that we become a more sustainable business.
Mayumbelo highlighted urbanization as the main challenge facing the city, with an influx of 10,000 people a year. He said the progress that they have made is attracting Namibians from other regions and would thus need more support from the central government to tackle the issue.
Thank you for watching, and do join me again tomorrow. And don't forget to follow us on our social media pages.
Are you a CMS member? With HospiCash 100, you can get up to 100,000 Namibian dollars cover with a 30,000 limit per event from as little as 100 Namibian dollars a month. We understand that being in hospital can be stressful. That is why with HospiCash 100, you can cover your non-medical expenses by receiving cash payouts when you are in hospital, so you can recover stress-free. Interested? SMS your name and HospiCash to 555 and we will call you back.
We can't wait to be together again.
until then, let's stay safe.
Now we look at Comments Corner, your daily dose of comments from our social media pages. A homeless family of 12 in the Ochimwese informal settlement finds it hard to get by as they survive only on bones and animal fat they collect from butcheries. Samantha says more and more people will become homeless. Yvonne says it's so heartbreaking to see people suffer like that. Martin wants to know where the politicians are who keep on making promises. Franz would like to know what happened to the Ministry of Poverty Eradication. While Nelson wants government to intervene. And the Brave Warriors interim head coach recently called up a 32-man provisional squad to join the camp for the upcoming FIFA Qatar World Cup Africa Qualifier Games with English-based defender Ryan Nyambe and national team captain Pietrus Shitembi, notable miss-outs from the squad. The two qualifiers will be played on the 2nd and 5th of September. Zweli says it will end in tears. Daniel noted that it is not fair, adding that there are better players than the ones selected. That is all from Comments Corner. Be sure to post your comments on our social media pages for broadcast every day only on Today on One.
Stay true to who you are and stay true to Namibia Sounds. Starting September 4th at 7 p.m., Valentine's and 99 FM bring you the True Music Sessions, a back-to-back playlist of our nation's finest artists brought to you by the finest blended Scotch whiskey, Valentine's. Stay true. There's no wrong way.
Time now for today's sports update with Tyro Musiandaka.
Welcome to a brand new week of Sports on One. I'm Tyro Musiandaka. Team Namibia, who recently represented the country at the 2021 World Athletics Under-20 Championships in Nairobi, Kenya, arrived back into the country after their sublime performance at the Games. Castro Lumbu has more on this story.
I'm really happy to be back home and just coming back with the medal and going out there and just representing my country was a big honor, and just doing my best was all I had to do. It was really crazy because the 100 meter got me tired. I was actually thinking of not doing the 200 meters, but I just told myself I had to do it, and it's a must that I have to do it because I went there for the 200 as well. So I just told myself I just had to do everything that I went to go do there and just represent my country as well. We are really close friends, the 4-5 of us, not the whole team. So we really got to know each other even more better because we've come a long way together. We started athletics together, so we know each other more and stuff. So we haven't trained together for a while. We haven't trained at all with the relays and stuff. So we just had a little bit of time there in Kenya. So I think that also helped a bit and just made us who we were.
We were aiming for a medal and we did that. So couldn't be more happier. Well, off track, we're really good friends, so it was just about trust. We trust each other, and we really wanted to make this relay work. So with the time we got, we used it very wisely, and we just remained positive, and we're very happy with the outcome. Yeah, next time we're gonna aim for gold.
The experience in Kenya was great.
The final. I mean, the heat in the semi-final was easier than in Tokyo, but the final, I was feeling nervous and there were tough people in final, and I'm happy to break the junior world record and make it PB. I was thinking also trying to run the 100 meter. One day I will just try to run the 100 meter and see how will I do it in 100 meter.
It was quite a nice experience to race against the best guys and to gain more experience and to know what you have to work on and what you have to do, and just to get more experience and gain more experience.
At the welcoming back, Coach Hank Botha, who accompanied the team to the games, was very proud of his team's performance, adding that going into the competition, the objective was to do their best.
Obviously, we are very excited and very happy for the results. That is what we wish for. I think the girls did a great job, and even Elvis, he ran like a lion. We must realize that this is a world championship. This isn't just a small event. So I'm very proud and very excited, and I can just see a bright future for these athletes. We actually have a strategy just to do our best, the best thing that we can do. And if the best is a medal or a record, that's great. If not, we will still be satisfied. There is a surprise. We are just waiting for confirmation. There's a Europe trip, a short Europe trip. But there's a possibility of one of the girls running in a Diamond League final in Zurich.
Also receiving the team at the airport was Athletics Namibia President Erwin Naimwaka, who anticipated a great performance before the games from the young athletes. Naimwaka also shared Athletics Namibia's future plans.
You see, I'm still celebrating since yesterday. So, super stuff that the athlete did. Very happy. The nation is very happy, very excited. More hard work. We can only get better from here. The relay is, I think, the most exciting event in athletics. When you have a relay, it's not only the athletes, the crowd get very excited, and it's really an event that is good for us in terms of promoting athletics. And we are starting off with the under-17 school program, and we hope to expand that to all the different levels of competitions in Namibia for under-20s, for the national. So we have it as a goal in our strategic plan that at least for the 2024 Olympics, we must at least have 2 teams that have qualified for the Olympics. We saw the promise with the under-20 team. We're just going to build on that and then look at the others. I think we can do good in the 4 men's 4x4. We are going to work hard. We are going to identify the different relay teams already and start working on their preparation to qualify for starting with the Commonwealth game and make sure that to come 2024 we've got at least 2 qualified relay teams. It's a goal that we have set in the strategic plan, and we are intent on achieving it.
The team that represented the country consisted of Christine Mboma, Pietres Masilingi, Elvis Gasep, Ndawana Haitembu, Karin Oosthuizen, and Nandi Faz. The team was led by team leader Miriam Mennen, head coach Hank Botha, and Norman Lucas as the COVID-19 license officer.
Well, that's all we have for you today. Don't forget to watch us again tomorrow, as well as follow us on our social media pages. Back to you, Maggie.
Thanks a lot, Chiro. For the latest in sports, let's have a look at the weather forecast.
Now a look at the weather forecast, but first an advisory from the Windhoek Met office. Cold Arctic air expected in the west and south on Thursday, becoming very cold in the south, central and eastern regions over the weekend. Crop and small stock farmers are advised to take the necessary precautions. The interior will be cold at first in the south, otherwise partly cloudy and warm to hot. A few light showers are possible in the southeast in places. The coast will be partly cloudy and cold to mild, and wind will be light moderate southerly to southwesterly.
We have come to the end of tonight's edition of Today on 1. Catch a repeat at 9:30 and the Omnibus Saturdays from 9 to 2. From me, Maggie Forciero, and the rest of the team, till next time, it's good night.
The International University of Management, a Namibian university dedicated to its people's future, a hub of abundant opportunities.
We are IUM for life. We are IUM.
The Namibia Gypsum Factory at Arandis in the Irongo region was established in 2018 with funding of $21 million Namibian from the Government Institutions Pension Fund, GIPF. Once operational, the factory will amongst others manufacture drywall and ceiling boards. The company's managing director, Hansi de Tweed, said they plan to employ nearly 120 people from the town of Arandis and the region at large, with a particular focus on employing women.
And we will do our social responsibility to the town. We will look after that. Although it's the percentage of the boards that we distribute in Namibia sounds small, that is about the market that we have in Namibia. And we do value addition to raw products that we take out of the ground, turn it or work it around, and then we do a value added things on the board thing, and I think that will be a great impact.
So clearly that assists the whole town and the development of the town, and we really need to be thankful to GIPF and wholeheartedly support what they do within the country. Because firstly, this factory, why I say nationally we should realize its importance, it's the only one of its kind in the SADC, firstly, and it actually adds value to a raw product.
Arandis Town Council Chief Executive Officer Stanley Norris said the business occupies approximately 12,000 square meters and the factory itself is close to 6,000 square meters.
It means that we'll have more currency coming into the town that's being spent in the town and will clearly uplift the economy of the town, which is much needed at this time, specifically thinking about the pandemic as well.
De Tweed explained that they saw a big void in the production of ceiling boards and seized on the idea for the factory because there is a gypsum mine about 60 kilometers from Arandis. He added that currently a very small amount of raw gypsum is used in the manufacturing of cement and the market price is very low. However, the company will be adding value to the raw product by manufacturing products such as drywall. De Tweed said the biggest gypsum market is currently South Africa, where a large percentage of the Namibia Gypsum Factory's products will be exported to, in addition to the rest of Southern African Development Community, where mostly chemical gypsum products are currently used as opposed to the natural kind which will be produced locally.
The raw gypsum that you just take out of the ground, the market on that at this stage isn't that big, because it's normally used in manufacture of cement in very small quantities. So the market price on gypsum isn't high. But as soon as you do a value addition, like making boards out of that, the revenue produced out of that is much higher than using a raw product and trying to export the raw gypsum out of the country. At this stage, all boards that's been used in Namibia is imported. So we don't have any, all the boards are imported, either from China or South Africa or wherever. Now we got our own board, proudly Namibian, which we can distribute to our people, to our own building companies or DIY shops. And of course we export, and that brings a lot of revenue, not only to us but to the country as well.
Gypsum products used in Namibia are also imported, and the factory hopes to fill that gap. Qualified artisan Albertina Mukwati, who is the team leader, said she is confident that the plant will change the lives of many people in Arandis.
As you can see, this plant will be employing almost 90% of ladies, from which I will be leading once we start with the production. So I'm really glad that there is something like this in Namibia. This is the first kind of, it's a first kind of the plant, a gypsum plant in Namibia. It's not going to be easy when we are starting up. But from the artisan's view, because I'm also a qualified artisan in control and instrumentation, I will say we will have a lot of safety aspects that we need to consider in this plant. So at the moment, I'm busy drafting some of the safety documents, which will assist us during the initial commissioning of the plant. And at the end of the day, I will be one of the first customers to buy the boards, because I'm just busy building my house. And I don't think that I want to use the imported product while we have the market for our own product.
Another employee subcontracted to the plant as a fitter, Richard Naubeb, urged the youth in Arandis to seek employment in other sectors besides mining.
For me, it's a great platform, this, because I'm actually born and bred in Arandis. I'm a resident of Arandis, so it's actually creating employment for us. And most of the guys you see around here, they're also from Arandis, so we're young. So actually the way they're creating employment, they're improving our standards of living as well, which is actually a great thing. So towards Namibia, this is also a great platform, because we're creating gypsum platforms here, so which are also fire resistant. So basically we don't have to go elsewhere to go find our platforms. Now we can create them ourselves. So it's actually creating jobs for everybody in Namibia as well. Actually, the main focus in Arandis is that everybody's more focused on the mine sector. So basically, for us as Arandis residents, as youngsters from Arandis, it's actually hard to find a job. So I would advise them to get their mindset off of the mines first and start looking for jobs, and also start creating jobs themselves. So, but I'm telling you, this is a great platform for all of us.
Beautiful souls, this is Nikita Winkler, and I am here to share easy tools for stretching that you can do just about anywhere. This is a demonstration, so what's most important is that you take the time in each position that your body needs to release its tension. In this session, we will stretch the hips. What you'll need are yoga blocks or books, thick books, or pillows, especially if you have tight hips. You can do this on a mat, on the floor, on a blanket, or even in your bed. Let's get started. So we're going to start on the floor with the soles of our feet together. I'm going to grab around the feet. This is a butterfly position. So in order to warm up the hips, I'm just going to flap the butterfly wings. And again, take your time. I'm going to lean forward, and here, again, if the hips are too tight, you can place your blocks, books, or pillows underneath. You might even feel a stretch in the back here. From this position, I'm going to take one arm right behind me, not too far from my body. The other arm, inhale, exhale, press the hip open. And come back to center. Change. One arm right behind me to lengthen the spine, the other hand on the knee. Inhale, exhale, press the hip open. And back to center. Now we're going to lie down on the floor. And first, before I get started, I have to make sure that my body, my spine is in alignment. I'm going to just open up the neck area. And you can spend as much time as you need here, allowing the force of gravity to weigh on the legs to open up the hips. You can place your blocks, books, or pillows underneath the knees. And gradually, you can take the feet even further down and spend enough time in each position. From here, we're going to go into an internal hip rotation. I'm going to spread my feet to the side, lean the knees inwards. If you have a little bit more flexibility, you don't really feel the stretch, just take your feet even further apart to deepen this internal rotation stretch in your hips. From here, I'm just going to place my feet, and without repositioning the feet, I'm going to take my arms to the side, and then I'm just going to rock my legs side to side, keeping the upper body facing up, shoulders down. And then I'm going to stop on one side, take the lower leg over the upper to add weight to deepen the stretch. Release the leg and switch. Other side, lower over the upper. And back to center. Last part, I'm going to spread my legs as wide open as I can, and I'm going to just row the boat. So what's important here is that the knees don't lift off the floor. Make sure you row both sides. Keep the knees and both bum cheeks on the floor. Alternatively, you can just lean forward. You can hang out on the pillow. Take your time on the blocks or on your books. And that is it. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to breathe into your stretches, and happy stretching.
India's Ranthambore Reserve in Rajasthan is home to the rare Bengal tigers. Every year, John Isaac, an Indian-born photographer, travels from New York City to document the lives of these majestic animals.
In the last 10 years, I think my interest has grown tenfold, and I'm very particular about the survival of the tigers.
His goal is to make sure that people everywhere know about the grave danger Bengal tigers face: extinction. John holds seminars and photographic exhibitions from his visits to Ranthambore to raise awareness of the plight of these tigers. He's currently working on a book to document their dilemma due to an increasing human population encroaching on their territory. According to John and wildlife experts, each tiger needs as much as 9 square kilometers to survive, just under 4 square miles. The relationship between tigers and people has always been difficult, but now, with much less territory to roam, tigers often wander into human settlements.
The conflict between the villagers and the tigers has always been there, and then government tries to compensate. If a tiger kills a goat or a cow, they pay a certain amount to the villagers.
In the past, tigers used migration corridors or routes followed by wildlife for travel between summer and winter habitats. Now these pathways have been taken over by people who use them as living quarters and to reap firewood.
We are
trying to work with the communities living around and trying to reduce their forest dependency so that we can conserve this corridor patch for the smooth and easy movement of tigers.
Jamuna Devi, a farmer, lives near one of the migratory corridors. She used to depend on the forest for grazing pastures. Now, thanks to a World Wildlife Fund initiative, Jamuna no longer needs to rely on the forest for her family's survival. The secret? Introducing new alternative crops closer to her home.
गई साल बोया हमने खुद ने और ये तो अभी ये गई साल बोया ये आया हो या कांदा है हम 25 रोज को तो तारीख को तो बोया ही है और रोज बा में अंतर तो आगा भूलने लगा.
The success of this project has led to even more changes. Jamuna decided to plant fodder for her cattle on her excess land to further preserve the habitat of the tigers. She has also switched to cooking gas so that she doesn't have to collect forest wood for fuel.
जंगल में सब दुनिया ने जाबो छोड़ दिया तो सब बे होगी कोई काम नहीं करे लकड़ी को भी नहीं करे जंगल में जाने से भी परेशान है दुनिया फिर गैस भेज दिया सबन के घर घर में वे सभी सिलेंडर पकड़ते और रुपया को कोई समझते ही नहीं है अब भीतर भरा लावा.
Climate change also has a direct impact on the habitat of tigers.
The last 2 or 3 years, they say, there's been a drought. The rains have not been regular.
Climate change is a serious problem in this country, even it's in the continent. So keeping these forest areas alive and protected is the only solution. This year we have raised a nursery of 10,000 saplings. Forest department have shown their interest. They bought around 2,000-3,000 saplings.
The idea is to plant new trees to replace those lost to severe weather conditions and human activity. Poaching used to be a major threat to Bengal tigers. But thankfully, the number of big cats killed by poachers has plummeted due to measures implemented by law enforcement agencies, resulting in less demand for tiger products. Especially the introduction of camera traps in digital apps, which automatically take photos of moving tigers and suspicious persons moving around in the forest.
Every time I hear something like that, I feel so good, in some ways, some things are working, and so this is what drives me to come and do this. In my lifetime, if the tigers are extinct, I don't know how I'll handle them.
This report was produced by Mary Ferreira for the United Nations.
On the Gold Coast of West Africa lies the peaceful and diverse nation of Ghana. I'm pretty close right now to the geographical center of the Earth. It is also one of the last pockets for elephants in the wilds of West Africa.
Every country in the world just about has cattle, sheep, goats, horses, donkeys, but it's only Africa that has the real megafauna, the charismatic stuff which people in the rest of the world want to see.
The passion that the staff have for the job.
There's value to a bird which brings birders to a place like this. I mean, this is a birding paradise. We see an intrinsic appreciation and joy from seeing the wildlife out here, but not everybody does.
You can't get to Moli and then will not be passionate about what we do, because you'll be the only one left. Everybody is passionate.
the only worthwhile war, the war against destruction, the war against loss, the war for peace, for balance, for inclusion.
It is out of my way. Buffaloes, elephants, tigers, attributes are still in existence.
If money fails, then Ghana is without wildlife.
Join me as we journey to the untamed wilderness of northern Ghana to meet these last defenders.
The people within the law enforcement agencies don't really know you're talking about a roan antelope. Somebody thinks it's just like a goat.